Long story short.
It's a Sunday morning and the Wagga Rugby choir are entering the Junee Correctional Centre. They've come to do a singing workshop with the inmates. The choir first visited about 5 months ago.
When we got there was I suppose, a calm excitement. People were, I think, wondering what was ahead of them.
This is the choir's president, Dave.
It was the first time I've been in a jail, thankfully. The security, as you would expect in a jail, it was quite intense.
The men are ushered through a series of security checks.
Trepidation, I suppose, is really the only word I can think to describe it. I suppose it's part of the sense of the unknown, going in to meet a group of men who have committed a crime, not knowing what those crimes are, but always having, I suppose, in the back of your mind that you could be in amongst murderers.
We'll get Jerome out here with you as soon as we can.
We walked them down through the centre into the back of the cultural centre.
Jerome works at the jail. He organises the cultural programs for the inmates.
And the moment they walked in, they were surrounded by at least probably 40 to 50 inmates. Yeah, it was a great moment. I wish we had it on camera.
The men are in the cultural centre, which is just a massive tin shed.
On first sight, on first inspection, some of the inmates do present as being quite intimidating.
First of all, you can see a bit of fear in them.
John's been an inmate at the prison for the last 2 years. He's taken part in the singing workshops from the start.
But I think after a while they relax and they can see that nobody's going to swing through the air or swing a bat or anything like that.
Greg, yeah. It's
great to see you coming back.
Yeah, nice to be back. Thanks for inviting us.
Anytime. We'd love to have you more often.
They were interesting to talk to, because that's the sort of thing I look for. I'm not looking for the next way we're going to hold up a bank or run down the street and leave drugs in your pocket. I'm interested in what people, how they feel about life and what they think about life in general.
The choir's musical director, Judy, begins the workshop with a series of vocal warm-ups.
The difference between doing an activity like singing and just meeting up as a group and socialising is that you're not required to drive the conversation as much. That allows you to interact in a fairly close way with people who you might normally, if you're just in a conversation, sit across from and scratch your head and wonder what you're going to talk about.
The Cultural Centre is the one place in the jail that brings together inmates that might not usually mingle. This includes inmates from protection units who are usually kept separate for their own safety. It's a big deal. This place is described as the Switzerland of the jail, and looking at the men here today, the name makes sense. The Wagga Choir are a neat-looking bunch of mostly grey-haired blokes. They're dressed in their choir uniforms, navy polo t-shirts and chambray shirts with personalised emblems. The inmates are in their own uniform, standard green t-shirts with varying degrees of wear and tear, and there's a good lot of beards, tattoos and rat's tails.
The most common expression, I think, among our fellas is that there but for the grace of God go I. So I think everybody at some stage has done something silly, and most people have been lucky enough not to have ended up in jail. Well, some of these guys have done something silly and that's where they've ended up.
The idea that any of the Wagga Choir members could end up in jail seems unlikely, but maybe the experience of singing together has left that impression.
Well, I'm fairly ancient. I'm 69, nearly 70, right? I have 10 months to go, and it's been quite inspiring coming to the establishment. I call it the Shearer's Rest Home.
John was one of the only inmates I was given approval to talk with today. We're sitting together in what feels like an interrogation room. A jail worker is with us at all times. I don't know why he's here, and I'm not allowed to ask. But there isn't much intimidating about him.
I was a shearer. Can I tell you that or not? I was a shearer for 45 years. That's a long, long time. A lot of hard work. I was thinking about when I died, I might come back. Come back and live here. It'd be a lot cheaper.
In some ways, the timing of John's sentence was fateful.
They found out that I had 4 blocked arteries in my heart. They flew me to Sydney. They operated on me in probably the best hospital in Australia, St Vincent's Hospital in Sydney, and virtually saved my life. The surgeon up there said I would have died within 2 or 3 weeks. That's amazing that I came here to be saved. It is a bit bewildering when you come in, but it doesn't take you long to blend in the system. But you wouldn't want to know when I first came to jail. I was leading into the cell, and who should appear but this bloke I've known for years. And he's pointing his finger at me. "What are you doing here?" he said. And he really thought, "You'll be the last bastard I'll ever see," he said. He was the, what do you call him, the king of the pod. That means he's the boss. He can fight, he can kick, and he'd do everything. And he was probably the best criminal, but anyway. So I was up the top of the tree. I had him round as a big protector. So how could you get anything better than that walking into jail? You couldn't get much better.
As well as taking part in the Wagga choir workshops, John and some of the inmates have started their own choir.
First time I come, I thought I was mad because of a silly old goat like me up there singing. So I tried to sing along, and if I'm not going too well, I lip sync, whatever they call it.
The jail's cultural worker Jerome helped the men get started.
5 months ago, if you had asked any of these guys would they sing in a choir, they would have said no. People would have laughed at us and said no, this wouldn't happen.
I'm sure a lot more inmates would come if they came and had a look, because it's not, they don't sort of see it. They think it's pussy or sissy or whatever it is, but it's not. It's a very manly thing. I think it is anyway. That's my opinion.
What I've noticed once the choir started, and it's been a progressional thing, it's happened over like a few months now, the confidence with inmates, and I think communicating, that's the biggest thing, and that's probably been a major problem in the past, not having that people skills to solve problems, and to see them in the choir like that, it's huge.
You do create friendships. Whether he's doing 20 years or 5 years or 2 months, you can create friendships, yeah. And you don't judge people. And this is what I have found. You never judge people because they've already been sentenced, they've already been judged, and they will accept you for what you are.
Dave from the Wagga Choir has his own insights.
I think when it was first announced that we were going to sing at Junee Correctional Centre, most fellows, including myself, thought that this would be a good thing to do because it'll help the inmates. But I really do believe that our members have got just as much, if not more. They had quite redneck attitudes of, people who end up in jail. Our visits to the jail have turned a lot of those notions and a lot of those beliefs totally upside down. We have made the offer that when they do get out, they're more than welcome to come along and join the Wagga City Rugby Male Choir. They're more than welcome.
It's difficult for when that inmate gets back into society. People that think, they don't deserve anything, they shouldn't have programs. We could do that quite easily and just lock people away and just release them when their time is due. But how long do you think they would last back in society before they do something else? These people are going to move next door to you one day or down the street, and I wouldn't like to think that they're going to come out, hopefully, a better person. Locking them away is not going to do it.
Long story short,